Hey everyone, Theo here. In today's video, I'm reviewing the Parblo Coast 12 Pro pen display. Nowadays, pen displays are so thin, they are often mistaken as tablets, but this is not a tablet. This is actually a monitor that you can draw on, and since it's a monitor, you have to connect this to a computer, and there is no touch screen. First of all, a disclaimer before I start the review. This is a review unit provided by the company Parblo. In this video, I'm just going to present to you my findings so that you can decide whether or not this is worth the money. And this is priced at US $299. There are two other models, the Parblo Coast 16 Pro, which I have already reviewed. That's $399 US, and the larger one, the Parblo Coast 22 Pro, which is $549 US. Now this video is going to be quite long, so if you want to save time, you can check out the text review that I have already written on my blog. The link is in the video description below. Let me give you the bottom line up front. The drawing performance of the pen is alright, it's just that with diagonal lines, there is the occasional wobble. So for these two lines, they are supposed to be smooth, but you can see they are kind of wavy. For other lines, such as the lines for the exterior of the cars, the lines here, they are smooth, they are straighter. By the way, the Coast 16 Pro and the Coast 22 Pro both have better drawing performance compared to the Coast 12 Pro, and these are my text reviews, which are linked in the video description below as well. Design of this pen display looks good. The shortcut buttons and dial work well. The diagonal for this display is actually 11.6 inches, and this to me is on the smaller side. Generally speaking, I would recommend you get a pen display that is 13 inches or larger because that's more comfortable to work with. The main downside for me for this pen display is the driver doesn't support dual display setups that well. More specifically, you can see the cursor here on this display, but there is no functionality, no shortcut for me to switch the cursor from this display to the other display, and this applies to Mac OS and Windows. The cursor switch functionality not working well also applies to the Coast 16 Pro and Coast 22 Pro. So those are the pros and cons for the Parblo Coast 12 Pro. Let's get on with the full review. These are the items included in the box. There is an artist glove, quick start guide, warranty info, microfiber cleaning cloth, full-size HDMI to mini HDMI cable, USB-C to USB-C video cable, USB-C to USB-A cable, a pen stand with 8 replacement nibs and a nib remover. This is the Parblo P08 pen, which supports tilt sensitivity and slightly over 8,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. Build quality seems solid enough, and it's quite comfortable to hold. There are two side buttons which are customizable. There is slight movement to the pen nib. When you first take the pen display out of the box, it will come with this protective film which you have to remove. So let's remove that. The drawing surface is matte textured, so when you are peeling off this protective film, make sure you do not peel off the matte screen protector. Currently, this pen display is connected to my MacBook Air laptop with this USB-C cable, and the laptop is able to power this pen display, but the maximum brightness is limited to 156 nits from what I've measured. It's bright enough for use in a bright room environment, but I wish it could be brighter. If you're using the HDMI cable, you will need to attach another USB-C cable for power, and you can get up to 176 nits, which is brighter than what you can get from this USB-C video connection. So this is a nice looking design. We have rounded corners. The exterior is made of plastic. This part here feels like metal. The bezels are quite thick, but they allow you to rest your palm on the display while drawing. There are 6 physical shortcut buttons which are customizable, and there is this dial here with a button in the middle that allows you to switch between different shortcuts. You can assign up to 6 shortcuts to the dial. The buttons have firm feedback, and when you press them, the label for the shortcut will appear on screen. This pen display is actually thinner than my MacBook Air. On the back, there are two long pieces of rubber with very good grip on the table. This back plate feels and looks like metal. The overall build quality for this pen display is solid. The ports on the side are for USB-C video connection, mini HDMI, USB-C power, that's the power light indicator, the power button, the brightness control. The cables provided by Parblo are not proprietary. In case anything happens to your cables, you can buy replacements very easily online. There is no tablet stand included, and this one that I have here happens to be made by Parblo as well. The model is PR100, and this is an excellent tablet stand that can be deployed at many different angles very easily. I actually have two of this. So the colors on the pen display look good out of the box. I've already color calibrated this and I measured color support for 98% sRGB, 76% Adobe RGB and P3, 71% NTSC. And as mentioned earlier, the maximum brightness for USB-C is 156 nits, for HDMI and USB-C power 176 nits. The matte textured screen protector provides a nice tactile surface for drawing. The anti-glare is quite aggressive though, so when there are reflections on the display, you can see the light diffuses the reflections quite obviously. And the brightness of the display is not high enough to go through the diffused reflections. So to get the best image quality from this display, you have to view it straight on, preferably without any reflections on the display. Viewing angles look good in the sense that there is minimal color shift when viewed from side angles. It's just that there is noticeable drop in brightness from these angles. So to get the best image quality, it's best to view this pen display straight on without reflections. Another thing to note is the matte screen protector will actually introduce some grain or color noise to the image quality. So that's the compromise you will get if you want a matte textured surface for drawing versus a glossy display. The drawing surface area of this display is wider than this A5 size sketchbook, but shorter. So this is still a good amount of space to work with, but as mentioned earlier, I highly recommend you get something that is 13 inches or larger, especially if you need to draw for long periods of time. On this 11.6 inch display with 1080p resolution, if you run the UI, the user interface, without any scaling, the text, the icons, they can look small. The UI looks sharp enough, however, they are quite small. So to make the UI elements larger, I have to scale the UI. I'm going to choose 1006 by 900. So now the UI elements are larger and easier for me to see. If you have a larger pen display, you can actually use the 13-inch pen display, for example, at the native resolution without any scaling, and the UI elements will still be big enough, will still appear larger, at least compared to a 11.6-inch display. Mac OS UI scaling isn't ideal for this display size and resolution, so image quality will have some fuzziness. However, Windows UI scaling will provide sharper visuals. Overall image quality for this pen display looks good. I just wish it could be brighter. By the way, it's not possible to increase the brightness of USB-C connection by adding another USB-C cable for power. The display is laminated, so there is no gap between the line and the pen tip. Cursor tracking is quite accurate up to the extreme edge. Maybe the cursor will stray 1 or 2 pixels away, but I rarely click on the wrong things. And if there is any cursor misalignment, you can remove the misalignment with calibration using the driver. Let's see what you can do with the driver. So this is the Windows driver. The Mac OS driver has very similar functionality. So this is where you can customize the pressure of the pen, The side buttons, you can customize the pressure using this curve here, and there are 3 control points. There is Windows Ink, which you may have to toggle on or off if pressure sensitivity is not working as expected. There is the absolute and relative mode, which allows you to use the pen as a mouse. For the side buttons, let's take a look at hotkeys. So you can customize keyboard shortcuts to the side buttons. The important thing I want to point out here is switch display shortcut here doesn't work like the normal switch display where you can move the cursor from one display to the other. This switch display is actually assigned to the keyboard shortcut Windows plus P, which is the projection mode, so this is actually not switch display. And that is the main downside for this driver. You can't use switch display. This is the area settings, which you can leave as default. If you are a left-handed user, you can change the orientation to 180 degrees so that the shortcut buttons are on the other side, on the right side. This is where you can customize the 6 physical shortcut buttons. Again, you can input your own keyboard shortcuts or choose from the pre-programmed shortcuts here. You can assign up to 6 shortcuts for the dial. And here I have mouse scroll, canvas size. You can use the dial to change or adjust brush sizes as well. One thing that's missing from this pen display or the driver is there is no OSD manual, so you won't be able to customize the color temperature, the hue, saturation, the RGB. And this OSD manual is available on the Coast 16 Pro and the Coast 22 Pro, just for some reason not available with the Coast 12 Pro. Time for the line quality test. I'm going to draw thin lines as thin as I possibly can. I can see slight jitter or wobble with the lines, but overall the lines are still considered quite straight. Initial activation force of this pen is quite low. This means I can draw thin lines very easily, even though the line is actually this thick. Let's try to draw this way. There is slight diagonal wobble, but it's still considered quite straight. You can see slight wobble there. Next, let's look at how the lines taper, and they can taper quite nicely, very smoothly, very sharply. So this is very good performance. And now I'm going to increase the size of the brush and see if I can maintain consistent pressure to get lines with consistent width. This is how thick the line really is. So this is actually quite good. I can see slight variation with the thickness, but overall it's still able to maintain the line thickness consistency quite well when you maintain consistent pressure. Let's draw some dots. With this software, Medibank Paint Pro, I would have to tap and drag slightly to get the dots to come out. With other apps, I can just tap and the dots would come out instantly. So there is some issue with maybe the driver with this particular software. Tilt sensitivity doesn't work that well on Windows and Mac OS. The cursor doesn't really follow the direction of the pen. Let me draw a broad stroke here, and you can see this is off, this is wrong. Let me try again, and this is also wrong because the darker area is supposed to be on the left side, not the right side. Let me try again the third time, and now you can see it's straight and then it becomes broad. This is correct, but this is wrong. Let's talk more about the drawing experience. So now I'm going to draw something really simple. It's just a chair. What I want to test is whether the lines can join without overshooting and without misalignment or without leaving gaps. So let me join these two lines, and I can join them quite easily. This is my typical drawing speed. So earlier I said there is slight diagonal wobble or jitter. When drawing with moderate speed, it looks fine. Pressure works well, and the texture of the matte screen protector provides a very nice tactile drawing experience. I can see slight wobble here with the lines, but it's not a major issue. Let me draw this curve here, and maybe a straight line here, another straight line here. Let's draw some diagonal lines. I can see slight wobble, but it's not a major deal breaker. So this chair looks alright, it looks fine, I guess. This is Photoshop on Windows, so let me draw a curve here for the rim. So there is slight wobble. You can see there is slight wobble. The line is not that straight. Let me draw another line. And let me zoom in again. So again, there is this wobble or wave. Let's draw the line across the car. Let's draw the line across Let's draw the line across the car. Okay, let's take a look at the line. So I can see slight wobble. It looks straight enough, but there is very slight wobble. The vertical lines look straighter. This line here looks straight, but there is slight wobble. I'm not sure if you can see it. It's quite subtle. And you can definitely see the wave or the wobble here. Let's add some highlights. Okay, let's have a closer look at the line quality. So sometimes I'm able to draw the lines much straighter. If you draw faster, the lines will be much straighter. However, if you draw a bit slower, sometimes the lines will be more wobbly, more wavy. And sometimes you want to draw slower because you want maybe more precision, and that's where the lines can be wobbly or wavy and work against you. For quick sketches like this, I think it works fine. I mean, the lines overall still look straight enough, and from afar, this sketch looks alright. So this is the drawing performance you can expect with other drawing apps such as Clip Studio Paint, Affinity Photo, and Medibank Paint Pro. This is Photoshop. You can see more drawings on my text review. Alright, I hope this review is useful. If you guys want to check out more pen display reviews, do subscribe to my YouTube channel and also my blog. See you guys in the next video. Bye!